This week on Business Brief, how Juneteenth celebrations are helping connect employers and job seekers in Colombia. Then, a look at how independent pharmacies are finding ways to keep their businesses afloat amid price pressures from pharmacy benefit managers. Welcome to Business Brief, Missouri Business Alert's podcast focused on business news and issues shaping the state. My name is Sam Jackson, and I am joined by my co-host, Trevor Grandin. Trevor, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty pumped to get started on the podcast.
Great, let's go. Let's get into these headlines.
U.S. retail prices rose nearly 1% in the last month from a revised almost 0.5% gain in April, according to Commerce Department data released Wednesday. Economists say the cash cushion from tax returns is starting to fade for many Americans. Sales figures may look higher than they are because economists haven't adjusted for inflation yet. Economists found healthy spending increases in areas including clothing, accessories, and furniture, with an online sales increase of 1.5%.
The Federal Reserve kept its key interest rate unchanged despite half of the central bank's policymakers saying they could support a rate increase later in the year. This shift in sentiment about increased rates reflects growing concerns about inflation, despite pressures to cut rates from President Donald Trump. It was the first rate-setting meeting overseen by new Fed Chair Kevin Warsh, a Trump appointee. The central bank's statement following the meeting was noticeably shorter than it had been previously, and dropped language projecting rate cuts later this year.
A federal judge sent a challenge to a class action Roundup weed killer settlement back to the St. Louis Circuit Court. The judge ruled the opponents of Bayer's proposed $7.25 billion Roundup settlement could not sue because they were not named as defendants in the original lawsuit. In the proposed settlement, Bayer agreed to cover the majority of the more than 60,000 claims from plaintiffs who allege glyphosate, the active ingredient in Roundup, caused cancer.
As healthcare costs rise and memberships drop, Centene Corp offered buyouts to employees but did not say how many positions it would cut. As of the first quarter this year, the Clayton-based firm had 61,000 workers. The managed care giant said that marketplace enrollment fell 36% to 3.6 million people because of expired federal subsidies. But net earnings increased 17% to $1.5 billion, despite a nearly 6% membership decline.
Amid MU Healthcare's expansion of rural services, it announced an organizational redesign, laying off more than 70 employees in order to maintain long-term financial stability. The healthcare system will close its 4 Hy-Vee Quick Care locations in Columbia and Jefferson City. The redesign is attributed to an evolving health system to match that of modern competitive healthcare markets. According to a press release, the company's proposal includes changes to its benefits program, dependent care assistance, and counseling services.
Friday is Juneteenth, the federal holiday commemorating the emancipation of enslaved Black Americans. And in Columbia, the community has shown up to celebrate.
What's been going on around the city to mark the occasion?
Well, 2 community organizers have spent the past week hosting a series of free events across the city, all aimed at unifying, uplifting, and celebrating Columbia's Black community. Everything from cultural gatherings to resource fairs. There was even a job fair that allowed local residents to see what employment options the city is offering.
I know you covered that event, so what did you find?
Yes, organizers say there's a deeper meaning that went into planning this and the other events. I sat down with the dynamic duo behind the events to find out why a job fair felt like the right way to celebrate and what Juneteenth means to them. Every year, Juneteenth comes and goes, marked by a cookout here and a parade there. But for 2 Columbia women, one day of celebration just was not enough. For the 3rd year, Erica Buford and Katina Colon organized free community events across Columbia, aimed at unifying, providing resources, and celebrating the city's Black community. And what started as a smaller-scale single-day effort has grown into a week-long series of events.
So we decided that we wanted to work together to put on a citywide Juneteenth event, something that was just more than a day, because we wanted to express how far we've come, and we wanted to show the community that there's more to it than just a park day. There is the education piece, there is helping people with employment, there is providing the resources that is needed.
That's Katina Colon, the pastor at Fifth Street Christian Church in Columbia. She said the two women branched out from the existing citywide events and started a new tradition in their community.
We wanted to just bypass what everybody else was doing. We are tradition breakers, we are chain breakers. We want to extend it further and provide more opportunities than one day.
Among the week's events was a job fair celebrating Black freedom. And for Cologne, it means addressing present day needs and not just honoring the past.
What about those that need a job? What about those that need a little more assistance? And so we wanted to provide that opportunity to not just promote the Black business, but promote people who actually need employment. Who's like, where can I go get a job? And so that's what today is all about.
For all employed people in the U.S., the average national unemployment rate for the first quarter of 2026 was 4.3%, according to the Economic Policy Institute, a think tank researching economic trends and policies. But the average Black unemployment was 7.6% during the same period of the time. Cologne and Beaufort hope to combat that with the Juneteenth job fair. The programming was designed so no one felt left out. And as Beaufort put it, no one can say there's not something for everyone. For Cologne, that focus on family is the most important part.
We got to get back to the basics, get back to family. Yeah. And when you get back to that, then all this other stuff that's happening, it will eliminate a lot of that. But you got to start with the family in that household.
And much of what made the week possible came from their own wallets.
We still had to make it happen. Yeah. And then some of this, I will be honest, it's not sponsored by anybody. It's our personal pockets. Yes. Personal pockets. Just so we could see the success and see people. Yeah.
Despite limited outside funding, Beaufort says the city's sponsorships doesn't always reach the people already doing the work on the ground.
One of my concerns is that just because everyone puts in a grant does not mean that everyone gets a ribbon. My thing is that if you're having a Juneteenth event and you have some sponsors that are doing this, why aren't you
working with us,
having them work with the people that are already putting on events?
By overlapping events, Beaufort feels it's creating a separation in the community, but her eyes are set on something larger, a truly citywide celebration.
I'm hoping that we as a community can come together and have more groups and have like subcommittees.
Both women are clear about why they keep showing up year after year, out of their own pockets and with their community in their hearts. Cologne says,
we're doing the work. We're doing the work for a better today and better tomorrow for our kids, and doing it in the heart of the community and letting people know this is what it's all about. And it's not just one day.
Our next story focuses on pharmacy benefit managers. Think of them as the middlemen of the prescription drug industry. They have an outsized impact on the prices patients and pharmacies pay for drugs.
What kind of impact are these companies having?
That's exactly what KBIA's Rebecca Smith wanted to find out. She looked into how some local, independent pharmacies are finding ways to diversify and expand their businesses to stay afloat, for now. Here's that story.
Anthony DeShaw owns 3 pharmacies in mid-Missouri, 2 Flo's Pharmacy locations in Columbia and Summit Pharmacy in Holt Summit. He says things have changed a lot in the last 20 or so years. He points to a computer that's processing a prescription. It looks at what the pharmacy paid for the medication, the copay for the patient, and the reimbursement from insurance to the pharmacy.
A little box is going to pop up. Yellow means, hey, you're losing a little. Red means, hey, you're losing a lot.
DeShaw says it's gotten harder for his pharmacies to stay open as profits have diminished. Supply costs have increased. He still has bills and employees to pay. Medications are more expensive to buy, and pharmacy benefit managers have decreased reimbursements.
The three of my pharmacies did almost $10 million in sales last year. My net take home was $30,000. You're looking at less than 2%. And I run lean.
Rafi Savajan is the director of pharmacies for the University of Southern California and teaches the business of independent pharmacies. He says it's become more common for reimbursement rates to be lower than the price the pharmacy paid to get the drug in the first place. And because 3 PBMs control about 80% of the market, local pharmacies have little ability to negotiate better contracts.
That really makes it difficult to compete for independent pharmacy. It makes it damn near impossible.
Savajan says pharmacies are also having to purchase medications from wholesalers before they're receiving reimbursement payments, which means pharmacies are often keeping less medication in stock, and some are choosing not to carry some expensive medications at all.
Sometimes I don't sleep at night trying to figure out how this week's going to turn versus the next week.
That's Tim Mitchell, who owns Mitchell's Drug Store in the southwest Missouri town of Neosho.
It is what it is, and we're making way, and we're getting more and more efficient every day.
He says they've recently consolidated to one location to decrease overhead and expanded services to try and make up some of their losses. Mitchell, like many other local pharmacists, now administers vaccines, works with local nursing homes, and runs programs to prepackage meds for patients. He says they've also opened a clinic with a nurse practitioner and started a program where instead of billing insurance, patients can pay a membership fee to have access to the medications they need.
Trying to be innovative, trying to think outside the box has really been key for us to be able to stay alive.
Mitchell says several pieces of legislation were introduced in Missouri this year to address the problems local pharmacies are facing, but only a fraction of what was proposed got through. If signed, pharmacies will now be able to dispense some limited diabetes management supplies. But Mitchell says without the root cause being addressed, he'll just lose money on that too. Back in Columbia, Anthony DeShaw points out the Little League teams the pharmacy has sponsored over the years and hand-drawn pictures he's received from patients. He says he and many others are concerned about the future.
If nothing gets passed, I think you're going to see, I don't want to say a mass exodus of pharmacies, you're going to see a lot of pharmacies closing. A lot of the staples that have been there 40, 50, 60 years that just can't do it anymore.
So for now, DeShaw says he'll continue to advocate for policy change and bring innovation into his pharmacies, all to keep the doors open. I'm Rebecca Smith, KBIA News.
It's now time for us to get into the words of the week. Trevor, what's your word this week?
My words this week are closing time.
Makes me think of last call, or you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Exactly. So there are 16 bars and restaurants that were given the green light to sell alcohol till 5 a.m. during Kansas City's FIFA World Cup hosting duties. But the journey toward those 23-hour service days wasn't that easy. After the Missouri legislature loosened liquor laws last year, Kansas City Mayor Quinton Lucas reined them in, citing concerns for public safety. Stipulations were set up to ensure that the establishments had safety plans in place.
Are extended hours likely to make a big difference for KC bars and restaurants?
For owners and workers, it's a chance for extra revenue, but in practice, they're more likely to use their temporary extended hours license as an option for extra hours. The 5 a.m. last call is expected to be limited to match days and weekends, depending on demand.
Well, hopefully people stay safe and have a fun time.
Agreed. That's all I've got this week. What's your word, Sam?
My word is Modessa.
What now?
Modessa. It stands for the Missouri Downtown Economic Stimulus Act. It was passed in 2003 and helped fund the Kansas City Power and Light District.
Okay, so what's going on with it now?
Well, the program expired 10 years later, but now an updated version of it could return to help fund proposed downtown expansions.
Okay. What downtown projects are being considered?
At the time, nothing is set in stone, but the Kansas City Currents riverfront expansion and the Royals' proposed ballpark at Crown Center are among the projects eligible for the Modessa incentives. The Revive program is a part of a larger omnibus economic development bill awaiting the governor's approval.
Well, I guess we'll see in the next few weeks whether it's signed into law.
For our closing thought, here's Katina Colon speaking about what the Juneteenth holiday means to her.
Being free is being free to go find the job that you want.
Or a better job.
That's it. A better.
Yeah.
You don't have to settle for just anything.
Yeah.
That's what being free is. Being free means I can go down and learn and have the true education that nobody can ever take away from me. That's what it's about. Being free is I can show my expression in fashion.
Yeah.
Free to worship, free to walk the streets and have a good time, free to laugh, free to enjoy. That's what it's all about.
Well, that is all this week. The M33 Project provided the music for this episode. For my co-host Trevor Grandin and editor Kelly DeRook, I'm Sam Jackson. This has been the Business Brief. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.